much pasta. I can't do it. Like you eat more than I can get sometimes.
Well, Ryan, you are quite obviously super capable of giving it to Trey.
I really feel for Ryan because going from what she experienced with Trey to suddenly being in this situation whereby she's being kept up for hours by someone who's just yelling and screaming and shouting doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. And I really hope she gets the help she needs, or I really hope that James on his part gets the help he needs, because it's not fair on Ryan for him to be offloading all his trauma, for him to say, I'm going through PTSD, and because I'm going through PTSD, I need you to listen to me. But how am I listening to you if you're shouting at me? Make it make sense. But anyway, that's just me. Hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's Valerie. Welcome to my channel. In this episode, I'll be reviewing The Ultimatum, Marry or Move On, Season 2, Episode 7. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, leave a comment, and definitely subscribe and turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos. It's interesting to watch the couple's first conversations after they sort of are back to their old partners that they came into the experiment with. Because you have Antonia and Roxanne talking about the fact that she's now open to the idea of marriage, and it took her conversations with Alex for her to realize that she is hoping to get married one day, but uh, she will need certain things done. She appreciates the fact that, Antonio made her breakfast, he got her roses, and she says, she just wants him to be there for her, to support her. And it's like, these are things you should have spoken about before year two. These are not things that you should be speaking about on the experiment unless the producers have asked you to speak about them. And the same thing was happening with Alex and Kat, because Kat and Alex were talking about love languages, and she was asking for words of affirmation, and for Alex to seem sort of blind to the idea that it's important for her to hear words of affirmation from him didn't make sense to me, because he said, oh, but that's not my thing. Yes, it's not your thing, but that's how she receives love. So you have to give her love the way she receives it, not the way you want to give it. You will receive love the way you want to receive it, and she will receive it the way she wants to. I think Roxanne and Alex are not ready to get married to anyone. As much as it seems like Alex's mom loves Kat and was sending her messages about Roxanne and stuff, I don't think it's worth her wasting her time with Alex. I think Alex needs to do a lot of personal development before he's ready, just like Roxanne, to get married. And then you have Ryan and James. They're in a vineyard, sort of having a picnic. It was interesting that Ryan and James were matching their clothes and their watches, and they were sort of talking about, oh, it's cute that we're matching. And Ryan was saying, I made it an effort to make sure that we matched, and we need to try and match and stuff. And then she went, oh, with Trey, we used to match all the time. It's not like we planned it. We'll just get dressed and then suddenly we're matching clothes, and it would be surprising. Maybe we just think alike. And then James would, match made in heaven, and I realized, oh my god, he's jealous. He's jealous. And then they were having this conversation with Ryan saying, you will need to make changes because we've been together for 7 years, and it's easy for us to fall back into the same old pattern. So I will need to see changes before I can make a decision on what to do. And he was like, okay, what do you need me to work on in the next 3 weeks? And she's like, it's not just for 3 weeks, it's for a lifetime. I think James has a lot of issues. Vanessa already suggested to him that he go to therapy. I think he needs to go to therapy before he can even think of getting married to someone like Ryan. Because Ryan, I think, is sort of she's restricted in being with James. I don't think she's herself. I don't think she's as outgoing as her family said that she is. Sort of very reserved when she's around James, and she prioritizes James. So I don't think he's it for her. I think he's going to tell her and do everything she needs to say yes, and then once they get married, he's going to go back to his old ways. So unless she decides to, even if he proposes, she needs to wait. She needs to wait to get married to him. She shouldn't do the Kobe and whatever her name is from last season. She needs to wait. So you have Rai and Trey sort of having a conversation. And for me, Rai is just looking for justification or vindication, or looking for an escape route. That's the impression that I get, because they have a conversation about the fact that Rai is still very upset that Trey said he had developed feelings for Ryan. She would have, she would never develop feelings for anyone. She's in her feelings about that. He asks for physical touch because he says at that point he just needs, someone close to him. And she's very reluctant to get close to him because she says, I feel hot. Ryan doesn't like that man. She's just putting up with that man so that she can be on TV. That's the impression that I'm getting, which is really sad because he seems to really care about her. Then they get into the conversation about where they want to live once they're married. She wants to live in town. He's saying, well, if we're going to start a family, I don't want to live in town and I don't want to leave my job where I am so that I move to a town for a year and you enjoy city life and then we go back. It doesn't make sense. So if you want, you can go and do that while I settle down and get everything ready for when the year's out and you come. And she didn't want to do long distance. And it's like, make it make sense. Just tell this guy you're not feeling him. Just let him know you're not feeling him because, you never did see a future with him. So let him know and get him out of his misery instead of wasting his time and your time. I don't know how that will end. I just want them to break up because it's not it. Um, and then you have Kat meet up with her friends, and they're sort of having a conversation. And I think their goal or their desire for Kat is for her to get an epiphany and realize that, Alex is not it. But she seems to be really set on the idea that he's changing, he's evolving into the man that she wants him to be. They're sort of questioning why he hasn't proposed. And they were right to say a man, if he doesn't see a future with you, will always tell you that I'm not ready to get married. If he's really ready to get married and he sees a future with you, he will propose. It's been 2 years. He should have made a decision by now. And then suddenly Alex appears. I don't know whether the producers just brought him in or whether um, Kat knew he was coming. I don't think she knew he was coming. And you could tell the friends, the way their pitches went so high, you could tell they were not happy to see him. They were really not. And they kept asking him and drilling him. And he did not have a coherent answer for them, apart from the fact that he said Roxanne was him on steroids. And it's like, oh, it wasn't her on steroids. She's just you. She's just matching your energy. It's just she's a bit more vocal than you, but you're more or less the same person. So I don't get why you suddenly feel like she is worse than you. And so he was asked, do you see a future with her? Do you understand the consequences of your decision or the choices you're going to make on decision day? And I don't know whether it's the producers telling them to be vague. I don't think Alex should propose. I think I don't think anyone should propose unless it's Trey proposing to uh, Ryan. But at the same time, I don't want them to propose. I'd rather they date because I don't think anybody is ready at this point. So Trey meet up with Rye's sister. And for me, it's strange because given the fact that they've been dating for 2 years, how is it that Ryan hasn't told her sister that she's in love with Trey? And suddenly, because of this experiment, she's telling her sister that I love Trey and Trey is saying he loves her. Make it make sense. I don't understand that bit. I really don't. And so they were arguing about Rice saying that before they came to meet the sister, they were arguing about the fact that Rai was saying she wants to live in the city for a year before she settles down, away from the city to start a family. And it's like, make it make sense. How did we go from that conversation to suddenly saying, oh, I love her, he loves me? And it doesn't make sense to me. And the fact that it was right that, Trey stood his ground and said, yes, I did open up to somebody else and I developed feelings for that person. And is being honest about it. But Ryan, for me, there's a lot more to it. Because even when she was having a conversation with her sister, it didn't make sense to me. It didn't make sense to me that, that she said the reason why she wasn't too keen to marry Trey is the fact that he wasn't satisfying her in bed. And it's like, make it make sense. So you've been with someone for 2 years, you've been living with him, and you haven't told him that you're having issues with him in bed. How? Why have you stayed with him for 2 years? Is it because he's giving you the lifestyle that you feel you deserve or the lifestyle you want? Make it make sense. And for you to come on TV and embarrass him on Netflix to say he's not satisfying you in bed doesn't make sense. And she said, oh, it's improving. We're still working on it. I think I might need to be tied up. I think I might. And it's like, There's more to this than Rai is making it out to be. She's looking for ways to blame Trey for her shortcomings. She's the one who's not in love with him. She's the one with no emotional connection to him. And because I don't think she thought coming into the experiment Trey would find someone who would love him or would develop feelings for him. And so the idea that this has happened and she hasn't found someone is what is nagging her. And this is why she's upset. I don't think she's upset because Trey developed feelings for somebody else. I think it's the idea that there was somebody else who reciprocated these feelings towards Trey. This is the issue that she has. And so she's looking for any excuse to say why she doesn't feel, she's ready for marriage. She never brought up the issue about where she wants to live. And her sister was right to say this could lead to cheating and stuff. And it's like, make it make sense. Just leave this man alone. Tell him you don't want him. You're looking for anyone. Anyone will do. And then you have Ryan sitting with James for a chat and they're all having a picnic. As someone who works in healthcare, I know I have to be sensitive about certain subjects, but it's a bit too convenient the way James has decided to disclose his trauma. It's sad that he was self harming, but the fact that after the big fight, this is when it's come out, doesn't make sense to me. So, what's prompted it? What, the big fight? You'd expect him to sort of shrink into himself and be withdrawn and whatever. I think he's looking for anything and everything to keep Ryan with him. So if it means he's going to use emotional, psychological, whatever a sort of type of, I don't want to say abuse, but there's no other word for it, he's going to do it. Because he didn't go to therapy for a therapist to help him speak out what's worrying him. He didn't speak to anyone else, to my knowledge, before speaking to Ryan. So it doesn't make sense that a few hours after the big fight that they had, he suddenly decided to tell her that he used to self-harm when he was a child because he felt unworthy, and this is why he at times gets upset when he's unworthy. I don't think so. I think there's a lot more to the story than he's saying. I think there is a lot more than he's actually telling anyone. So I wish he was honest. I wish he could allow Ryan space to just process what she's going through. I think he wants to keep Ryan entertained. He wants to keep Ryan sweet, so he's going to tell her anything and everything. And because he knows she's someone who's empathetic and someone who's very compassionate, this is why I feel he told her his story, because he knew because of that she would want to stay with him, because I think he was worried, because I think in the back of his mind he still has this sort of idea that she might leave him for Trey. And so in order to keep her, this is why he's telling her the story. It's sort of like someone who's a partner who abuses their partner. They'll abuse them today and then tomorrow they'll buy them a present to sweeten them up, and then they'll do the same thing and same thing and same thing. And so the partner is always saying, oh, but they do nice things, but this is the impression that I'm getting. If this is something that's in his history, I'm so sorry, and I hope he gets the help that he needs. But for me, I feel there's a lot more to the story than we're being told, and I wish she was honest, and I wish she had gone to counseling before disclosing this information. I think this is such a big thing that he should not have done on TV, but hey, that's just me. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Bye everyone.